Good evening, everybody. Welcome to another episode of the Pits of Motor Chaos. This is your host, Dave. I got a special guest all the way from Canada, Sitko, Nitro funny car driver. How you doing, Nathan?
I'm doing well. How are you, sir?
I'm great. So how's the weather out there in Canada?
It's actually a little bit better than usual for this time of year. We're just a little bit below freezing, not too much snow, but not too much colder than you are down there, I don't think.
Yeah, we're somewhere, I think, in the 30s right now. Yeah, I think we're like 30-something degrees here right now.
Oh, yeah, I think we're about -8 Celsius, whatever that works out to.
So tell me about the car Arctic Traveler. Have you done much racing this year?
We actually, unfortunately, due to the state of everything, we haven't been able to get out racing at all this year. We've just been kind of sitting at home and waiting for stuff to happen. But cars ready to go, been sitting in the trailer, all year ready to go. Just no place to go with the Canada-U.S. border closed up, and the racetracks around here locally aren't able to have many, if any, fans. So that doesn't bode well for feature cars like that. So,
Yes. So, how about any plans for next year so far?
So far, we've got high hopes that we're going to be back to some level of normalcy for next year. We don't really have anything on the books officially yet because of the unsure state of everything. But we've got one date that we're tentatively writing on our calendar for kind of probably a first race down in Spokane, May 28th, 29. But again, that all bears on whether or not we can get across the border or anything like that. So,
yeah, it's been quite a crazy year with the pandemic.
That's right.
Yeah, hopefully we can get it all cleared up by 2021.
We're hoping so. I mean, we definitely want to get out there and put on a show for the fans, and we're all itching to get back into the competition of racing. So it's been a bit of a down year, of course, for everybody. So we'd be really happy to get back out there.
Now, do you run with any funny car groups?
I'm sorry, I missed that.
I said, do you run with any funny car groups?
We kind of follow the NHRA heritage stuff to a small degree. A lot of those races are pretty far for us to go, but we have run down in Bakersfield and Spokane, Seattle, Vegas a few years back when they had some races there. We run with the UNFC group that put on races, in Spokane and all sorts of other places as well. But we've definitely got plans to go elsewhere with it as well and follow those circuits a little bit more. And that depends year to year on sponsorship funds and stuff like that. So,
now, currently, do you have any sponsorship?
When we last ran in 2019, we had some really good guys on board. We've still got some guys on board. Our major sponsors, Mario Performance Diesel, JB's Power Center, they help us out a ton, and a whole list of other guys that we couldn't do without, obviously. And we just, we want to get back out there and get their name out there for them. That's what we do for them. So.
So now, Nathan, how did the name the Arctic Traveler come about?
Well, on our team, it's been a name that my dad drove a dragster for a guy by the name of Brad Ennis back in the 80s, and it was his car that started out as the Arctic Traveler. And through the years, we used the name with different drivers on top alcohol dragsters through the years. In the mid-90s, it got shelved once that team disbanded, and we kind of put it away for a while and had hoped to return to that name at some point when we were in a spot where we felt we could do it justice. And so we went several years, just Sitko family racing and various other cars. And we had the opportunity to bring it back for 2019. We originally intended it to be 2018, but we had a crash in 2017 that set us back about a year building a new car. But so that's where it came about this round. We brought it back on our brand new Mustang Nitro funny car, and a lot of the same people involved, the graphic artists that did the artwork on the car and our t-shirts, and of course my dad, and a lot of involvement from and help from a lot of the guys that were helping us back in the 90s and 80s when they were running that car as well.
Yeah, the car looks beautiful.
Thank you. We were really happy with how it turned out.
Now, what is the make of that car? What kind of make and model is that car?
It's it's a 65 Mustang, I believe, is the body. And we run a 457 cubic inch blown Nitro Hemi. And the chassis is one that we picked up from another racer down in Indianapolis. It was built by Grant Downing. And it's a really good car. We're really happy with how everything works. We got to put a limited number of passes on it in 2019 once we got it ready, and it's we're really happy with how everything turned out, the chassis and the body.
Now, how many gallons is the fuel pump?
It's a 21 gallon per minute pump. That's kind of a mandated flow rate that we're allowed to run in the Nostalgia series. So it can be less, but it can't be more. And that's how they try and keep the racing, close there, right? Keep everybody on the same level playing field.
Right. Now, let me ask you this question, Nathan. I'm going to turn the clock back with you. How did you get into drag racing?
I was kind of born into it. Started in the 1950s with my grandfather, George Sitko, and he had involvement, with the Regals Car Club. He was a big part of that, and he was drag racing when they were shutting down highways to do it, and then also heavily involved when the Edmonton Speedway was around, and of course, so my father and my uncle, Ken and Steve Sitko, were racing as well. So my brother and I are third generation racers. So my first trip down the drag strip was in a junior dragster in 1993, and just moved along kind of quickly through there, I guess. Started driving top alcohol dragster when I was 16. We did that for a few years, switched over to alcohol funny car in 2004, and then we moved over to Nitro funny car on the Nostalgia series in 2010. So 2010, 2011.
So how was the switch over going from alcohol to Nitro?
It was a bit of a change, but the largest change was when we switched from the alcohol dragster to the alcohol funny car. Just the driving experience was so vastly different. You steer the car different, you see different, it sounds different. Then, of course, the different sound also came into play when we switched from alcohol funny car to nitro funny car. It's certainly a lot louder, and when it makes a move, it's quite a bit more violent. A little bit less to do in the cockpit with only one gear change, but it's still, a handful. You're still busy in there muscling that thing to the finish line for sure.
For when your first time driving a nitro funny car down the drag strip, how was that first time feeling?
I'm sorry, can you repeat that?
I said your first time driving a nitro car down the drag strip. How was that experience for you?
Well, it was definitely an exciting one. At the time, we were still running our top alcohol funny car, and I had an opportunity to drive Tim Stevenson's TACman Nitro funny car at a local event here in Edmonton, a Wednesday night race. So it was in the dark and in a car that I wasn't familiar with, but I felt comfortable and confident anyhow. And that car had been running with another driver for a few years, so it was an established car, and we ended up running the quickest run of the night on our second pass with it. I think we ran a 6:04. That was my first full pass in a nitro funny car in the dark, and the very first pass before that, earlier that evening, it was a short wheelbase car, and it was up on the wheelie bar when I left the starting line, and was kind of marching towards the right-hand guardrail, so I had to lift, and it was definitely a learning experience on that run that we were able to correct for the second run that evening, and then we carried on to the Hot Rodder Union in Bakersfield and an event at Firebird in Phoenix that same year, and that was my first getting my feet wet in the nitro funny car, and then the year after we had one.
So you haven't been to the March meet yet?
We haven't run the car at the March meet, but we have run at the Hot Rod Reunion 2 or 3 times with our car. The March meet is kind of a hard one for us. The travel down there, it's a long trip in March down from Canada. There's lots of potential for bad weather on the way, and also being a family run operation, it's pretty hard to make that big of a financial jump that early in the season without some major backing. So being the first race of the year that early would be pretty tough. Never say never. We'd love to do it, but we just need to make sure everything's in place well before that. So,
yeah, I heard next year is going to be the May meet.
Yeah, and I think that's the same weekend as that Spokane race, and we're kind of a little bit committed to that deal, but like I said, never say never. It depends on what happens with the border and the restrictions all over the place, and finances as well. So you might see us down there at some point. I don't know that would be in 2021 though.
Now, do you do a lot of match racing with Jay Magoo?
Yeah, Jay Maggio. Yeah, it's funny. I actually work with him at my day job. We both work for a medical equipment company up here in Edmonton, but we do a lot of match racing with him, when we can up here, and we've done match racing in Medicine Hat and Saskatoon and Edmonton with Jay and the other local guys as well. So,
oh, that's pretty neat.
Yeah.
So now, when you drove junior dragsters, how'd you do in junior dragster? Did you have any success in juniors?
At the end, I did. I was a terrible bracket racer for most of it, but I finally figured out in my last 2 years in the class, I was able to finally wrap my head around, how to be a good bracket racer, and won the track championship in my last 2 years in junior dragster when I was 15 and 16 years old. And it's definitely a good proving ground for a lot of people, and a lot of prominent racers have graduated from that program, and it's kept me out of trouble. So, but I was at the racetrack already, anyways, with my dad's race teams, and it was really fun. I really enjoyed it, and it's a really good program for kids to get into it.
Now, how'd you do in the alcohol cars that you ran?
We had some good success with the dragster. Again, it wasn't we weren't doing national events with it or anything, but we ran a series of races in the AHRA at Spokane in 2002, and ended up winning the series championship. I feel like we were down there every second weekend. We raced a lot in Spokane that year and the year after. I think there was 5 races in the series or something like that. We ended up coming away with the points championship in that. And then alcohol funny car, we did a lot of match racing, mostly in a couple divisional events every year, and just we do it as a hobby. We enjoy doing it out there with our family and seeing all our friends at the racetrack. And we never won any huge events, but we've got 2 Wallies on the shelf, from one from the alcohol dragster, one from the alcohol funny car, and trying to add one to the shelf from Nitro funny car too. That's the ultimate goal, right? So
yeah. So now, after all the years of drag racing, Nathan, what still keeps you passionate about drag racing?
I missed the last part there, sorry.
I said, after all the years of drag racing now, what still keeps you passionate about it?
Honestly, it's just the family aspect of it. If we couldn't be out there with our family, we wouldn't do it. I mean, it's something that I've always done. Some families will go fishing, some go camping, and some go racing, and we try to do both. My wife and kids, we go camping, and we try and split it half and half with racing, or do all of both. But what keeps me passionate about drag racing is just the competition. I really enjoy it. I really enjoy driving the car and figuring out how to, make it go fast. My dad's the crew chief tuner on our car, and we put our heads together and try and make the best calls we can to keep it in one piece and also make it go fast. And we're learning. We just don't get as many runs as a lot of the guys down in the States to figure it out with a pretty short season up here in Canada. But it's one of those things that once it's in your blood, it's hard to get it out, right? And it's definitely still in there. We still very much enjoy it. We've always said once it becomes no fun anymore, then we'll move on. But so far, thankfully, that hasn't happened.
So what do you enjoy most about being a drag racer?
I kind of like all aspects of it. I mean, I really enjoy working on the car and driving the car, and just the sense of community you get from everyone around you. The drag racing community is so tight-knit, and everyone's always willing to help. You'd be hard-pressed to find someone who's not friendly out there and willing to lend a hand and lend you anything out of their trailer you need to get you to the next round. It's just a really neat group of people that come together to do this, and definitely feel fortunate that we've been able to do it as long as we have. Our family's been racing since the 1950s, so we've been doing it a long time, and we've definitely had a good run, and hope that we can continue on forward.
Now, is there anything that you hate about being a drag racer?
I'm sorry. Sorry, is there anything what?
Anything that you hate about being a drag racer?
I really don't think so. I mean, there's so many good aspects of it. I can't think of anything that, nobody likes to lose, but I mean, that's a fact of it. And we go out there and do everything in our power to win. And we're getting there. But anything I hate about drag racing, I don't think so. I mean, the rising costs of everything, that's one thing I think everybody hates, but that's kind of expected. It's just a really fun sport.
All right, now, do you think that you can get any better as a drag racer? And if so, how do you achieve that to get better?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, we're learning every time the car goes down the racetrack. I'm learning as a driver. Every time the car goes down the racetrack, we're learning different ways to service the car, to make it go faster, to keep it in one piece. There is the biggest thing is seat time as a driver. Leaning on my fellow racers for advice in every way. I mean, whether it's driving or tuning or repairing or anything like that, there's always a ton to learn, and it really never stops. The biggest thing that we could do to improve our program is just time at the racetrack. I mean, it's just like I said, with the short season up in Canada, we kind of live in the wrong place to be doing this on a really serious level. But we do it as a hobby. We enjoy it, and maybe that's enough for us. I mean, I don't want it to become like a job where it's not fun anymore. So we're always looking to better ourselves, better our equipment. Align ourselves with the right marketing partners, and that'll enable us to be faster and be a car out there that everyone is worried about,
Now, Nathan, if you could have your fans remember one thing about you, what would you want that one thing to be that the fans remember about you?
I want them to remember that we're always approachable, and I feel like I'm always approachable. I love talking to the fans at the racetrack, signing autographs. I've had a lot of people not come by or not stop by and later tell me that, well, you looked kind of busy. And that's the biggest thing. That's the greatest thing about drag racing to me is you can go down to the pit area and see everybody working on their cars, but always remember that we've always got time to talk. We'll always make time to talk to the fans. We're try to be as accessible as possible, and we would like to have fun and put on a good show and provide good memories at the racetrack for fans too. So definitely want them to just remember that we're always there to chat. So.
Now, in the pit area, do you put any fans in the seat of the car?
Absolutely, yeah, absolutely. If they come on down, we're happy to put them in the seat and let them see what I see from my office, and that's definitely something that we do for sure.
All right, now Nathan, do you have any drag racers that you looked up to starting out drag racing or inspired you?
Aside from the obvious, with my dad driving, my uncle driving, obviously I always paid close attention to them. But in early in my life and even still, my drag racing heroes were always Eddie Hill and John Force. I just thought they were the greatest, and I still enjoy watching John Force out there. He's still making it happen, and those were my drag racing heroes growing up. So
yeah, almost everybody, John Force, because he pretty much built himself up from nothing.
Yeah, that's right. Just how he went from being a truck driver, independent race car driver to 16-time world champ. That's kind of the drag racing dream right there.
Yep. Now, your family's always been involved in your drag racing, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah, it's nice to have family behind you.
For sure. We, like I said, we go out there, we take our holiday trailer out there, and my wife and kids are out there, and some of my crew guys, their families come out, and it's a big family event. We caravan down the highway and have a good time doing it.
So how many kids you have?
We've got 2 girls. Yeah.
Now they like drag racing?
Well, our oldest is, they both like it, but our oldest is maybe not quite as into it as our youngest daughter. Aubrey, she's into cars and likes to watch the racing, and Peyton, she likes to be there and watch racing too, but maybe not quite as much as Aubrey.
Now, how old is Aubrey?
Aubrey is 4 and Peyton is 6.
Now, you think Aubrey might get into junior dragster one day?
Maybe. I'm not sure. We'll let her make that decision, and my wife and I will have to talk about it, I'm sure. But certainly, I think she would be willing out of the 2. So.
Yeah. Okay. Now, who are all the crew members that help keep this car running?
Well, we've got a list. Like I said, my dad is the tuner crew chief, and we have Ken Sitko, and we've got Dan Brochu. He came on recently. He came to us with a lot of experience and helped us out. Ed Mitten is another experienced guy that helps us keep the thing going. David Holman, Connor Braden, Mitchell Lindsay. I'll blow through the list real quick. I don't think I missed anyone. I hope I didn't. But all those guys, they bust their butts for us, and it's an all volunteer team. Obviously, it's they all do it because they love it, and they really enjoy drag racing and the automotive side of it. And it's certainly not a glorious time at the racetrack. Sometimes we're sweating and getting dirty and oily, but everyone works really well together. The team really gels together, and we have a great time together.
So what's the fastest ET you've had with the funny car?
With our current car, the quickest we've gone is 584. And the previous car, we ran 581 with the car that we crashed in 2017. But basically, our 6th or 7th pass on the new car, we ran 584 in Spokane. So.
Now, when you get out there on the starting line and get in that funny car, do you have any previous rituals or superstitions?
No, I mean, I like to get in let me rephrase that. It's not that I like to get in the car early. I prefer to not be in a rush. So I don't mind being in the car early. And if there's a delay or something ahead of me, I don't mind sitting in there. I like to just sit in there and relax and clear my mind. But I wouldn't say that I have any superstitions or pre-race rituals, just kind of the general check over as I'm walking to the car and crawling in there, close my eyes for 5 minutes and just get focused on the task at hand. But I just like to not be rushed. So I hop in the car as early as I can and get buckled in and wait for them to fire the car and lower the body. So.
Now, the first time that you ever got in a funny car, did you have any problem with the body being lowered down on you? You didn't get claustrophobic or anything?
The very first time when we switched over from the alcohol dragster to alcohol funny car, the very first time that we rolled up to the staging lanes there and I was buckled in, I kind of had to stop everybody and say, hold on a minute. I want you to lower the body on me and let me sit here for a minute before you start the car. And because in that moment there was a little bit of panic there. You know, it was a totally new situation.
Right.
But I got over that fairly quick. And we fired the car and went down the racetrack. And it was, the first few runs were a little bit interesting. I was still trying to drive it like a dragster and not giving it enough steering input. But after the first weekend, I think I figured that out. And, through some long talks on the phone with other funny car drivers locally that I knew, John Evanchuk, Roger Bateman, those guys really helped me out early on in, the transition over. So
now, is there a lot of preparation to get that Nitro funny car ready for a weekend?
Quite a bit. I mean, we go through the whole car front to back and check everything over, freshen everything, prepare some clutch items that are going to get us through the weekend, get a few racks of pistons ready with rods hanging on them. And so there's a fair amount of work. I mean, every team's got a different set of a different list, I guess, before they head to the racetrack and also between rounds. Everybody does it just a little bit different. And, we've, after doing this now, the Nitro deal since 2011, about 8 or 9 years, I think we've kind of finally gotten into a groove with our current guys as to what we do between rounds and what we do before races. Like I said, being an all-volunteer team and not racing a ton, we try to make sure that the car's ready to go for the following race after the current one. We don't like the car to go into the shop too often in between because, it cuts into family time and everyone's got work and all that. We've all got day jobs, right? So we try to make sure after an event that the car is ready before it goes back in the trailer, and that keeps the shop time down in the summer. So
now, do you have any favorite tracks to race on?
Pardon?
Do you have any favorite tracks to run on?
Favorite tracks, yeah. Mission, BC is just a beautiful place, and it's fast. All the atmospheric conditions there make it a really fast place. Spokane was kind of like my second home growing up. I enjoyed racing there a lot. Las Vegas was really nice. Bakersfield was really cool. Seattle, again, just a beautiful place to race. Edmonton, of course, being our home track, we really like to race here as often as we can. It's a great facility. Salt Lake City, before they closed it down here at Rocky Mountain Raceways, we got the opportunity to race there a couple times before that place closed down. We've been to some really cool places. Medicine Hat, Saskatoon, all those places are great, whether it be big or small. But I would say probably my favorite place as a driver to drive at has been Seattle. It's just, it's so scenic. Even when you're sitting in the car, you got all those trees around, and it's like you're driving into a forest. It's great. So.
Now, have you ever done any 8 mile racing?
We haven't actually. we actually have a fairly new local track up here in Rimbey, Alberta. That's an 8th mile track that we've been kind of chomping at the bit to get out there and do some racing. So hopefully we get the opportunity here, in 2021, maybe the year after. Just depends on how everything goes, I guess. But we haven't done any 8th mile stuff, no.
Maybe one of the years ahead, in the future, you can come down to the States and run a funny car chaos.
Yeah, I've been following that series online, and it looks like a ton of fun. They're quite a ways from us, obviously, all the races, but that would be a year where we would maybe have to find a mini home base for the car to store it at down there, and do some of those events. They look like they're really well run, and that would be really cool to take part in those for sure.
Yeah, that's all those drivers look like they're having a blast out there.
Absolutely, yeah.
No. Now, where do you get all your fire safety equipment from?
Well, my driver gear, my driving suit and boots and stuff I get from Taylor Motorsports, from Dennis and Justin Taylor. Really comfortable, well-made stuff. And a lot of the safety equipment on the car is from Ben Conant at DJ Safety. We try to keep a lot of that stuff that has to be recerted every year, every 2 years, with DJ, largely because they have a Canadian gentleman down in Saskatchewan that can do the recert on them, and that the cross-border shipping on stuff like that is a huge deal to a small team like us. So having the ability to just send it, to Saskatchewan instead of down to California or anywhere below that dotted line saves us a ton of money in shipping. And it's great stuff. It keeps us safe, keeps us going. Everything that we had on the car in 2017, with the crash, did its job. DJ Taylor, ISP head pads, all that stuff, kept me safe. No injuries, but totaled car, kind of around me. But everything did its job. So when we built the new car, kind of replaced everything exactly brand new, exactly what we had before. You hate to test that stuff, but when you do, you definitely don't fix what's not broken, right? So.
Yep. So now, what milestones have you reached in your racing career so far?
What, sorry?
What milestones have you reached in your racing career?
Well, winning those Wallies was definitely some checked off a couple boxes there, but we still got more to go. We would like to start winning some big rounds and get some more trophies. But running a fuel car is at times difficult for sure, but also very personally rewarding. We're turning some heads, I think, with our performance and how our team looks and runs. There's a bunch more milestones out there. Winning a heritage race would be huge, and just being a big contender is our goal. So.
Now, do you have anything on a bucket list that you would like to try in drag racing one day?
I wouldn't mind trying my hand at a top fuel car, but that's something that is a little bit out of my reach right now, and who knows down the road. But if anyone ever needs a driver out there, let me know. I'd love to get my license in a top fuel car one day, but there's not really anywhere else to go from there, I guess.
Now, do you have any hobbies outside of drag racing?
Well, I mean, kind of drag racing related stuff, welding and metal fabrication. I fiddle with computers a little bit here and there, and camping. We like to go camping with our family. That's kind of the bulk of it. We do some fishing a little bit here and there, and do what we can to relax and unwind. And
Hey, you got great fishing up there in Canada.
yeah, we've had some pretty good success on some of the big lakes. My father-in-law's got a boat that we tool around with him on, and we have a good time as a family. The kids like fishing, and my wife Carla, she caught some pretty huge fish last summer and beat us all at that. So yeah, we've got some good fishing up here, and it's always a good time.
Now, Nathan, if you were able to, find a time travel machine and go back into time, would you do anything differently with the drag racing?
No, I don't think so. It's obviously everything. Every experience is a learning experience, right? Is there little things we do differently? Maybe, but I mean, for the most part, I'm really happy with how things have gone, and I don't think we would do much of anything different.
All right. Can you think of one of your most embarrassing moments on the track?
Oh, yeah, not necessarily on the track, but at the end of the track. At times I can be a little bit emotional or hot-headed, as other people can as well. And we had a race in alcohol funny car back in 2006, and there was a lot going on, and it was kind of a mixed race where we were racing pro mods and funny cars together, and I didn't really agree with one of the calls that was made, and made my opinion heard after I got out of the car at the end of the racetrack, and felt pretty bad afterward about blowing up on some of the track guys down there. So that's probably my most embarrassing moment there, I would say.
All right. Now, what would you consider to be your most fondest memory in drag racing for you?
My which, sorry?
What would you consider to be your fondest memory in drag racing?
My proudest memory?
Fondest.
Oh, honest.
No, your fondest memory, like your greatest memory?
Fondest.
Yeah.
Sorry, fondest memory, yeah. In recent times, honestly, the last few times we raced with the new car after coming back from crashing it when we ran that first race back in June in Spokane, kind of at the scene of the crime, a year and a half later. We had kind of an emotional moment at the end of the racetrack with my crew guys and my family, and we were just so happy that we kind of made it back, and that was kind of it's a really fond memory. And honestly, there's so many I can't even count. Just being out there, having good times with my family, and having my kids out there is just fantastic all the time as well.
Awesome. Well, Nathan, I want to thank you very much for taking time to do the interview tonight. Do you have any final words?
Well, I want to thank you for having me on. It was great talking to you, and I hope that we get back to racing in 2021. And I just hope everybody stays safe and has a happy holiday season.
Right. Happy holidays to you too.
You as well.
And I wish you the best of luck in 2021. Hopefully, like you said, hopefully you get some drag racing done. And I hope you have a great night tonight.
You too. Thanks very much, Dave.
We'll do another one in the future probably.
Alrighty.
Hopefully, you'll get another Wally, and we'll talk about that Wally.
Absolutely. That's for sure.
All right, you have a great night. Thanks again, Nathan.
Thanks, Dave. Take care.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.